Chapter 7, Bringing Hope. Earthquake. 7.1 magnitude earthquake killed over 300,000 people. By 2010, Hope Alive was operating smoothly. All 5 medical clinics and several small pharmacy stations throughout Haiti were opened, furnished, staffed, and funded. No one expected a 7.1 magnitude earthquake to strike, killing over 300,000 people. After 2010, Haiti would never be the same. Some say the earthquake was the best thing that ever happened to Haiti. This heart-wrenching tragedy opened the world's eyes to Haiti's pre-existing poverty and brought international assistance. The epicenter of this earthquake was only 6 miles from our main largest clinic. We had boots on the ground at Hope Alive's central location, and it was instrumental to treating thousands of desperate earthquake-ravaged victims. We had followed the advice of our Haitian builder in 1999, strategically placing rebar posts every 10 feet. For that reason, our building was one of the few in the area that remained standing securely. Even the presidential palace was a collapsed pile of rubble. Many months after the earthquake, most Haitians were too afraid to sleep in their homes. Aftershocks were common, and people didn't feel safe. Over 1 million were left homeless. Tent cities popped up everywhere. Toothpaste had previously been donated in massive quantity and was repurposed as a stripe beneath the nose to mask the smell of dead bodies emitting from the toppled buildings. Our oldest daughter and her husband returned to Haiti several times, particularly in 2010. They served there after the earthquake. She was able to make a very positive impact using her degree and experience with mental health therapy, helping survivors deal with their emotional trauma after the earthquake. With red crayons, symbolizing blood, they conveyed horrible experiences they'd encountered. In group therapy, Haitians would discuss with each other things that they had not been previously able to speak about. These discussions were very healing. As a side note, only the cities surrounding the epicenter suffered damage, injuries, and death. The 4 Hope Alive clinics in other parts of Haiti were not affected by this earthquake. These Hope Alive clinics, however, were overwhelmed by the influx of homeless fleeing the capital city of Port-au-Prince, Jacmel, and Léogâne. A smaller but stronger 7.2 magnitude earthquake would strike in 2021. The epicenter of this earthquake was only 4 miles from our second rural Tricon clinic. Our home at 100 Main Street was also centrally located. It became the hub for dropping off in-kind donations, which are material goods, mostly disaster relief items. We would ship these collected items to Haiti. Although most donations were very useful, imagine snow boots, used dog blankets, or an ice scraper for earthquake victims in tropical Haiti. 6 weeks after the earthquake, Hope Alive hosted a team of nurses and doctors from the U.S. to assist with disaster relief. The team was split into 2 separate airline flights. Several helpers didn't get to go because one of the flights was canceled. All the church friends of an adorable little Korean-born woman were booked on the flight that was canceled. So she assumed she was going to Haiti all alone. She was relieved to learn there were many other travelers, myself included, booked on her uncanceled flight. She told me that she had an earthquake in her heart, and she was so broken for the Haitian people. She would have gone alone without knowing the Creole language, without protection from danger, and not knowing how to navigate where to go or what to do in Haiti. We would all serve alongside her in this disaster relief at Hope Alive. It seems God sent the right people who would handle the utter destruction and the devastation and the anguish that we addressed. Hearts were too raw for mending, but we did our best, and I'm sure we did make a small difference in a few lives. Our angels, our guests. Over the years, Hope Alive Guest House would accommodate over 500 different visitors, many who returned year after year. In 2011, to accommodate short-term visiting missionaries zealous to assist with disaster relief after the earthquake, Frank designed a guest house next to Hope Alive's largest medical clinic. His plan was genius. Not only did it meet a need for housing an influx of new visitors, the building extension added an extra layer of foundational strength to the existing building. The new guest house would prevent the building from leaning after the earthquake. Dumbfounded and broken by what they were seeing, our visitors had collectively assumed the earthquake caused the horror they were witnessing. In truth, the earthquake had merely awakened awareness of an abject poverty in Haiti that had pre-existed. Instead of once a year now, we were hosting mission teams once a month or more. It was precious to witness how people were inspired to help Haiti in unique ways, using their individual giftings and callings. We had no idea that our guest house would soon be boarded up, tight as a drum, that safety concerns due to gang violence, kidnappings, and murders would spark U.S. government issued Level 4 do not travel warnings in 2018. But over the years, the Hope Alive Guest House would accommodate over 500 different visitors, and many, many more if you consider that those 500 mostly returned year after year. Family doctors, psychiatrists, ER doctors, OBGYN doctors, cardiologist, eye surgeon, chiropractor, nurses, nurse practitioners, mental health counselors, dentists, dental assistants, dental hygienists, pharmacists, opticians, hearing specialists, pastors, evangelists, lawyers, teachers, electricians, plumbers, builders, car mechanics, painters, artists, gardeners, videographers, singers, musicians, dancers, karate instructor, mime actors, clowns, professional organizer, cooks, administrative support, IT specialists, etc. They were all guests at our Hope Alive guest house. Here are a few testimonies about some of those visiting angels. They were coming for our mission teams. Each paragraph represents a unique story. A nurse tirelessly sewed about 30 matching quilts for the guest house. In her passion for sewing, she also brought dresses she'd sewn to bless some Haitian women. The following year, she brought some fabric, needles, thread, and taught Haitian women to sew. She decided, quoting the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, "Give man a fish and feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish, and you'll feed him for a lifetime." On her next trip, she opened Penny's Sewing Academy under Hope Alive 501c3, which continues to thrive many, many years later. Penny financially supports the school, and upon graduation, she gifts each student with their own sewing machine to boost their micro business. Now, in the beginning days, we scoured the Delaware Valley and we found and shipped over 50 antique treadle sewing machines for the first several graduating classes. Even though electricity is still unreliable, newer graduates are now enjoying electric sewing machines. Now, right after the earthquake, this nurse visited an elderly woman displaced from her home, living in a tent, who was a bit constipated. Her suppository created quite a moving and eventful experience and brought much relief to this poor old woman. A dentist from West Virginia served at Hope Alive year after year. He would stand bent over with his ailing back for hours, pulling too many nasty, stinky teeth to count. One woman needed 13 teeth pulled. Seeing a long-term need, this dentist donated funds for us to hire a dentist in Haiti, an indigenous Haitian man. People would not needlessly die any longer from tooth infections now that we had this dental clinic, Smiles Alive was birthed, providing ongoing dental care at Hope Alive. Bridget, one of our housekeeping staff, is deaf. Some good friends who are intercessory prayer warriors led ear teams who fitted Bridget as well as many others with hearing aids. The looks on their faces when they could hear, sometimes for the first time, made us cry. Hope Alive provides a makeshift operating room where an eye surgeon from Florida removed cataracts. A cousin duo from Italy built Hope Alive's kitchen, complete with an industrial stove, several bathrooms, an upper guest house room, and a home for one of our staff. They also built a storage shed and furnished it full of tools. They made repairs to our administrator's father's house several hours away in the rural mountains. Now, Hope Alive usually hires Haitian staff for building projects, but these guys were top-notch professionals, and they did some very specific, intricate work. One church in Pennsylvania sent teams to Hope Alive regularly. Some individuals from this church have since pioneered their own successful ministries in Haiti. A beautiful young dancer from New Jersey raised the self-confidence of teenaged Haitian girls by teaching them some ballet. One local high school student raised over $7,000 for Hope Alive's malnourished babies in her high school senior year. 3 beautiful young ladies spent a good portion of their summer in 2016 in Haiti with me during the first days of Solace Nutrition Hospital. They each have heartwarming success stories of children they nurtured and loved back to good health. These memories will warm their hearts forever. Several artists have drawn beautiful murals on walls inside our buildings. We had purchased shipping containers to be converted into a laboratory, a dental clinic, and a storage room. A newly graduated nurse assisted our staff caring for sick babies in Solace, while her dad constructed drywall in our shipping containers and laid tiles in one of our bathrooms. A pastor planned and executed a teaching conference for Haitian pastors and shipped laptop computers to Haiti for them. He became close friends with Reno and still frequently ships him theological books. The education these books provided has equipped Reno to be pastor. Reno is also a lawyer, as well as our chief administrator. Another pastor continuously coordinates and teaches pastors' conferences in Haiti and has a vision to plant churches. A nurse friend who is now with the Lord donated funds multiple times for Hope Alive staff for extra food so they would know they are loved. She also shared her cooking skills, expanded our nutrition program, and trained our staff at 2 medical clinics of Hope Alive to run it. A pastor chiropractor and his teams provided several dozen large boxes of vitamins to distribute among the community. He adjusted dozens of patients chiropractically who needed their spines aligned after walking long distances carrying heavy loads on their heads. That's customary for Haitians. Their team preached and prayed with kids whose unselfish prayers included jobs for their unemployed parents. This team also wired electricity and installed fans. A youth group from Georgia followed Jesus' example in the Bible and washed some dirty feet. Their optician youth leader fitted eyes with donated eyeglasses. Our chef Sonia prepared scrumptious meals, but giving her a morning off, I cooked this team oatmeal for breakfast one day. I heard the leader tell them, You must eat it. Being busy, by the time I joined them, everyone had already finished their bowl of oatmeal. But when my spoon came to my lips, I gagged. What had I done to make it taste so awful? Well, now I can eat almost anything, but this was just too gross. I couldn't swallow that oatmeal. Yet those teenagers, they ate theirs. They're awesome kids. Not one of them complained. And since then, now, the new rule is only Chef Sonia cooks for our teams. Before Chef Sonia came to Hope Alive, visitors would work in the kitchen with the entire time for their trip, and they would cook for our missions teams. They'd plan the meals, they'd shop, they'd fill their suitcase and bring the food with them, and then they'd cook it and serve it. A restaurant manager collected food, diapers, and loads of useful things, shipping those items to Haiti over many, many years. He would do that from his restaurant. He also personally paid salaries for a school in a very remote mountain region. A gentleman who worked for a swimming pool company blessed Hope Alive for many years with heavy-duty refrigerator-sized boxes previously filled with enormous pool covers to accommodate shipping merchandise to Haiti. These were perfect because the deal we had with our shipper was it didn't matter how large or how heavy, he charged us by the number of boxes we shipped. We no longer receive these wonderful boxes, but we continue to work with the same shipper in the Philadelphia, South Jersey area. So if you know a connection for free, strong, large boxes, please let us know. A nurse practitioner from Montana led many mission teams, treating thousands of patients in poor villages through Hope Alive mobile clinics. After serving at Hope Alive for 3 months, a young woman who had just gotten her bachelor's degree in another field changed direction and went back to school to be a nurse. Today, that is still her profession and her passion. A husband-wife team brought their young son to Hope Alive in the early years of the ministry. The trip inspired him to become a doctor. He finished medical school a few years ago. An emergency room doctor envisioned a boys' soccer league, and when a local high school got new soccer uniforms, that school donated all their old ones to Hope Alive. A school nurse director sponsored one of Hope Alive's Haitian nurses to visit North Carolina to take a nursing class at her school. Now, when the average Haitian woman is having her menstrual cycle, she must use wash and reuse rags. To their delight, an ambitious visitor enlisted dozens of American seamstresses, and they sewed and shipped to Hope Alive untold numbers of washable, reusable menstrual pads. The same woman and her friend donated several pieces of cookware to equip the guest house kitchen. Meanwhile, this woman's knowledgeable husband assisted Frank installing a clean water system. Or, more accurately, let me say that Frank was the one assisting him. Their son, a medical doctor very instrumental in Hope Alive's healthcare, installed an electrical system with 12-volt batteries for backup lighting in the guest house. Several youth groups enthusiastically focused on evangelism. They preached the good news of salvation through Jesus Christ, and they prayed with people in the streets as well as on the large balcony, which is our front porch, or pavilion, which is on top, during evening church services at Hope Alive. They witnessed miracles. Miracles were simultaneously occurring on the front porch at our Main Street home as well. In-kind donations were dropped off, filled into enormous boxes, and shipped to Haiti. Over the years, thousands of boxes have been shipped to and joyously received at Hope Alive. A woman whom I did not know contacted me about coming on a missions trip with her sister. Our next ladies' trip would focus on inner healing. She decided that would be the trip that they would do together. When that day arrived, I assembled all the women coming to our conference, getting ready to leave the Port-au-Prince airport to head to our Hope Alive mission. But one of the sisters was missing. When I asked the other sister to help us find her, well, we did find her in the bathroom, she replied she wouldn't be able to help us do that. She didn't even know what her sister looked like. Imagine that. In 50 years, this woman had not yet met her sister. We felt blessed to witness a beautiful thing unfold as the sisters were able to do some serious catching up all week. Beautiful, humble servants have spearheaded diaper drives, shoe drives, medicine drives, and fundraisers such as annual benefit concerts, a golf tournament, growing and selling pumpkins, even a trampoline-a-thon. Some have filled baby bottles with coins and encouraged their churches to do the same to buy food for malnourished babies. Good friends of ours placed empty coin cans visible in local businesses, convenience stores, restaurants, hair salons, hardware stores, etc. Hope Alive logo, website, and a brief summary that describes the mission are on each can. Generous merchants fill them, and each week the couple empties the cans and sends a check to Hope Alive. You'd be surprised how spare change can change the life of a hungry child. We need more volunteers for this ministry in more towns and cities. Could you please help us with this? Malnutrition is a deadly disease, and unfortunately, when the disease has already irreparably weakened the baby, parents sometimes bring their babies to solace too late. That was the case when one of the babies died suddenly. This is something one youth group from New Jersey will never forget. After the baby's death, this little boy was carefully wrapped in a beautiful blanket that was chosen from many sewn by a women's group. The team held a small ceremony, and he would be buried in a diaper box with that blanket. Numerous teams blessed the Haitian people every way imaginable. Guests packed their suitcases to distribute clothing, food, shoes, toys, toothpaste, enough if it laid end to end to stretch a mile, toothbrushes, dental floss, school supplies, tents, hygiene supplies, medicine, vitamins, bicycles, you name it. My favorite, and I think the Haitian kids' favorite, was being served rice and beans locally bought to benefit the community, and either distributed in bags or cooked and served on plates. Among other foods served by our guests were popcorn and homemade pizza. It was also very special when teams conducted Vacation Bible School, VBS. Sometimes they would use felt charts, even mime, to convey Bible stories. After a teaching, the children would engage their fine motor skills with cutout crafts or crayons and coloring books. There were also balloon animals, face painting, nail painting, karaoke, talent contests, musical chairs, the hokey pokey, duck duck goose, or a Father Abraham dance. During the early guest house days, while we were still establishing our territory with the critters, I discovered newly hatched tarantulas all over the guest house building. I stopped counting after killing the 100th baby tarantula spider. I don't like to kill things, but I'm quite sure our guests appreciate that we work hard to keep the Hope Alive guest house mission bug free. Typical week at Hope Alive. After a long period of unrest in Haiti, we hope to accommodate guests again soon. Hope Alive guest house mattresses and pillows make our guests very comfortable, adorned with quilted bedspreads sewn by Penny, each showered by a pretty mosquito net. Now we can house 25 or more in total, but 18 is a more ideal number. That's 12 in the larger dorm and 6 in the smaller dorm. Bathrooms are clean with flush toilets and nice showers if you don't mind refreshing cold water. We wake up renewed, and we're greeted downstairs in the dining area with an authentic breakfast prepared by Chef Sonia, our beloved cook, and her helpers. No awful oatmeal. Devotions, scriptures, and prayer follow under the pavilion on the top third floor. Chef Sonia and her entourage of helpers start preparing our lunch and dinner meals as soon as they have cleaned up after breakfast. Meal preparation in Haiti takes much longer, as everything is made from scratch. The food tastes so fresh, so delicious. Our kitchen has always been sanitary, and no one has ever gotten sick from eating there, to my knowledge. Fill your water bottles, slather on your sunscreen, wear your sun hat and sunglasses, and pile into Clifford, our 15-passenger van. Depending on the size of our team, we may need 2 vehicles. We're on our way to do uplifting, rewarding ministry somewhere: a local school, a community food distribution, a mobile medical clinic, village evangelism, healing street ministry, etc. We used to take teams to orphanages before we knew better. I'll talk more about that later. When we have accomplished our mission, we say our goodbyes and we pile back into Clifford the van. We're hot, sweaty, exhausted, and hungry. We wash up and find our place back in the dining room for lunch. After lunch, we usually go to another adventure. Sometimes we go to the beach, into town to shop, or sightseeing. Sometimes we take a walk through the village, praying with people, and/or advertising our movie night, or our evening church service, or whatever village event we're hosting back at Hope Alive Mission that night. When we return to the guest house, Edward may be waiting with his wares of Haitian paintings, jewelry, and wooden crafts spread all over the balcony for guests to purchase souvenirs. Edward's family perished in a flood about 4 decades ago, and only he and his 1-year-old daughter, who's now grown, survived. Chef Sonia has a scrumptious, authentic dinner waiting for us. You may have heard a bleating goat or a clucking chicken that morning, which mysteriously disappeared to reappear beautifully blanketed under sauce on your table. Or you might see a fish staring up at you from a plate. Sonia has also made yummy American food to satisfy the less adventurous eater. And whatever you don't eat, the kitchen staff is very happy to take home. After dinner, we download and talk about the day and what we hope to see happen the next day. We often host a community event such as a church service, game night, talent show, musical chairs, etc., or movie night with popcorn, talent show. In French, the movie night with the popcorn is in French dialogue, a second language which is spoken to Haitian, and that has English subtitles. After that, our group might play some games amongst ourselves, like Mafia with a killer, townspeople, and a cop. In this game, we make up stories that someone fell off a tap-tap. Now, a Haitian tap-tap is public transit. Or we talk about maybe we got kidnapped or some kind of comic relief similar to what we might have feared might really happen to us. So talking about our fears in this fun way puts us at ease. Sometimes instead of playing games, we must do some prep work for the next day's ministry. Most of us go to bed pretty early, but some of us are night owls who whisper and tiptoe carefully, not to disturb the rest of us who are sleeping. We get up, and the next day we do it all over again with a delicious breakfast by Chef Sonia, devotions and Bible reading, and more ministry opportunities. Mobile medical clinics. A mobile medical clinic is self-described, what you probably guessed it is. It's a place to where we bring medicine, medical professionals, etc. Then we turn it into a makeshift medical clinic the best we can under some inhospitable conditions. Our stationary Hope Alive Medical Clinic functions very well with Indigenous staff. So when visiting teams of American medical professionals donate their time, rather than duplicate efforts or impede our Haitian staff at our well-run clinics, we collaborate with Haitian villages through the local churches to arrange mobile medical care. There's always great need. So this is a huge blessing, especially for the very sick people who may not be inclined to venture to one of our clinics. The night before we pack up and we take a medical clinic on the road, the night before we pack up and take a medical clinic on the road, American visiting doctors study the inventory of what medicines we have in stock in the Hope Alive Pharmacy. They do their best to anticipate what medicine will be needed the next day. The pharmacy team stuffs those medicine into suitcases, and our Haitian staff packs them into our vehicles. Often we bring from the US vaccinations that are donated to us by pharmaceutical companies. For instance, tetanus or DPT, diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus. These vaccines are packed well on ice into coolers for travel from the US and stored in our clinics or hotel refrigerator. Due to the large number of patients waiting to be seen at the mobile site, all the vaccines are utilized while they are still cold. Even visiting missionaries who are not medically educated have administered vaccine injections supervised by a medical professional, having first practiced by jabbing an orange. If dentists are on the team, we bring a generator and an autoclave so that they can sterilize their instruments. We have learned to position our dentists in well-ventilated areas out of the main area. Diseased, smelly, rotten teeth would nauseate a maggot. Amongst pharmaceuticals and supplies, we pack our lunches. Napkins, cups, at least one 5-gallon tank of warm Culligan drinking water, and lots of hand sanitizer. Haitian happiness or diarrhea is to be avoided at all costs. Keeping our visiting missionary teams healthy and maintaining a sanitary environment is quite a challenge, but it's a top priority. Our mobile clinic space is very small, very crowded, filthy, and squeezed tightly with very sick people, hosting every type of tropical disease with no running water, no electricity, only one table for all the medicines, and a chair for each visiting missionary. There's no air conditioner, no fans, and temperatures are easily in the high 90s with high humidity. With nowhere to relieve yourself and no toilet paper, your best hope is to find an outdoor spot and ask assistance from fellow visitors whom you just met a few days ago. They surround you, facing out, with their backs to you, while you do your business. Our teams get to know each other pretty well, pretty fast. When we arrive at the village of the mobile medical clinic, the big Haitian guys, our security guards, hand out numbered tickets. We are always met with an enormous crowd who has waited a long time for us. Numbered tickets are dispersed respectfully by order of those first in line who waited the longest. A ticket will enable the person to see a medical doctor and or a dentist free of charge. The first person in line receives ticket number 1, the second number 2, etc. Simultaneously, we triage the crowd to be sure the sickest are seen in a timely manner, not to be overpowered or lost in the crowd. The tickets bear some distinct feature that cannot be duplicated. In spite of that, it's quite amusing how well tickets are counterfeited. The suitcases filled with medicine are emptied and organized. Each patient prays with our prayer team, consults with the doctor and or dentist, then brings this clearly written doctor's prescription to the pharmacy. The clearly labeled medicine is dispensed by a pharmacy volunteer educated with a prior crash course. To determine how many patients will receive a ticket, I assess and consider the resilience of our team members based on how long I estimate they can handle the conditions of our mobile medical clinic. Our visiting missionaries' time, resources, and personal health are limited, and it's my responsibility to protect them. If we have a strong team, they can usually last about 5 hours, including drive time, setup, and teardown. With a good number of medical professionals, if we hustle, we can hope to treat about 250 or more patients in that time frame. In that case, upon arrival, the security team hands out about 230 tickets. Toward the end of our time there, a doctor, nurse, or I will walk through the crowd giving those last 20 tickets to the sickest patients who arrived too late for the first round of tickets. This always works well, and we do not leave without seeing those in the greatest need. However, unfortunately, it will never be possible to examine and treat everyone who wants to be seen. A tap-tap analogy best describes what it's like to try to meet all the needs. In Haiti, there's a saying, how many people can you fit into a tap-tap? A tap-tap is a transport vehicle. It could be a bus, a truck, a car. It gets its name because when passengers reach their stop, they tap-tap and the driver knows to stop. The answer to the joke is one more. You get the picture? Tap-tap drivers on busy roads in Haiti are always teeming with bodies squashed together, moving from place to place. Can always fit one more. Our mobile clinics and all the aspects of ministry in Haiti are much like the Haitian tap-tap. We triage and we meet the greatest needs, but despite all our efforts, there's always one more precious Haitian person who wants our help. Being limited in our ability to help that one more can be heartbreaking and exhausting. The mall. We termed an in-kind gift distribution area the mall because it was filled with every kind of non-medical thing imaginable: clothing, shoes, toiletries, etc., to bless the Haitian people. It was organized, looking almost like a big yard sale. At the end of the Haitian's journey through the mobile medical clinic maze, and after seeing the doctor or the dentist, praying with the prayer team and getting medicine, etc., the patient went to the mall to claim his gift. Or if there was no medical professional on our missions team, the mall operated independently. Wares were easily transported home by the Haitians in our brightly colored bags that were donated by a grocery store in New Jersey. In the early days of Hope Alive at airports around the United States, our visitors all struggled coming into Haiti with 140 pounds. Back then, we were allowed 2 suitcases, each with a maximum allowable weight of 70 pounds. Our goal was to meet as many needs as we could. I always got nervous at the ticket counter when the airline weighed our suitcases because if a bag was overweight, there would be a hefty charge. Thank God, we always kept our bags within their weight limits, except for one time. I had crucial merchandise. It wasn't just in-kind donations. There was a lot of ministry things that I had, and I knew that my bag was overweight. And I held a scripture in my heart, Proverbs 20:10, which I knew I took out of context, but I held on to it anyway. And basically, it gave me confidence that God was in control of the weights and the measures. I needed everything in those suitcases. So I decided to believe God would handle the situation when it came time for me to have my bags weighed. When I reached the ticket counter, I learned their scale was broken. To move the passengers along quickly, they took my bag without weighing it. That was the only time I ever knowingly brought an overweight bag. It was the only time that God ever gave me the peace to do so. And it was also the only time on any of my airline trips where there had ever been a broken scale. On my very first trip to Haiti, I bought a large Ziploc bag of broken crayons to distribute to little children. I don't know why I did that, but I guess I thought it would be helpful. I guess it's what I had laying around the house to bring and share. You'd think I was giving out golden coins. I literally started a riot amongst those children. Everyone wanted a broken crayon. The mob mentality was already a part of the youngest generation. Well, this was my first lesson in crowd chaos, but there would be many more lessons. Hope Alive has always been a learn as we go ministry. In the early days of Hope Alive, before we learned how to effectively manage a distribution, sometimes chaos erupted. When the crowds got unruly, we dumped whatever stuff we were giving away, mostly used clothing, threw it away from ourselves to get some distance, gathered our team, and ran safely to our vehicles. The mobs fought amongst themselves, and we drove away. Another thing we learned was to stop mixing the distribution of gifts with examining and treating patients. Most of our mobile medical clinics were in well-populated areas, but at one of them, near our fourth medical clinic, the area was so rural you could walk in a 360-degree circle and not see one house or one building and barely a tree. Yet somehow, at least 1,000 people showed up for free medical care that day, from who knows where. We had assumed it was a medical care that they were seeking, but later we pondered, was it the gift they had come for? We finally figured out that some of the people coming to our mobile medical clinics, they weren't sick. They faked being sick because they wanted a soccer ball, a pair of shoes, a bar of soap, etc. With that revelation, we stopped putting so much pressure on the visiting medical professionals, and the mall became a separate ministry to be offered on a different day. On both mobile medical clinic days and the mall days, everyone has a specific important job, whether examining patients, holding the flashlight into the mouth for the dentist, or giving out the stuff. Our male Haitian staff, who become our security guards, they definitely have the hardest job. We have to be fair, so everyone coming to the clinic, to the mall, gets something, but a few Haitians are pretty skillful at hoodwinking, deceiving us to get more gifts than allotted per person. The security team diligently makes sure that these recipients get in and out of the mall quickly, taking their ticket that they produce. We use the same system for the mobile medical clinic. And then when their number's called, the security guard makes sure that they don't double dip, which is quite the daunting challenge. Sometimes they even remove the extra items that mysteriously reappeared when they checked these street smart kids' pockets. At one mobile clinic location, we didn't have a building to work out of, but we had some trees for shade. As I squatted to sit on a cinder block, I felt something squirm up under the bottom of my dress. All the women visitors wore dresses back in the early days of Hope Alive. The Haitians thought American women were heathen if we wore shorts or pants. So back in those early days, in order to present Jesus to them, to show them respect for their culture, all of the women were required to wear dresses or skirts. That changed after a few years because the culture changed. Anyway, this creature that wiggled up my dress, up my legs, and crossed all the way up my back and up my neck. My screams drew about 300 pairs of eyes onto me. I made a ridiculous spectacle of myself, screaming and squirming in spasms. The lizard, who was probably more scared than me, if that was even possible, he shot out that hole from the neck at the top of the back of my dress. After he made it out safely, some chivalrous Haitian man killed him. Poor little guy finally made his way out. Seemed wrong that he died in the end. One lady was unconscious when our medical team arrived. The doctors were unable to help her. Her blood pressure had been too high to read, and they assumed that she had a stroke. Very high blood pressure is commonplace in Haiti. Sometimes medical professionals, they have to take a patient's blood pressure reading multiple times because they can't believe that a patient could be even functioning with how high it is. Well, in and out of consciousness, I was able to read scripture to this woman from a French Bible, giving her the gospel salvation message. She nodded that she understood. She nodded that she would, or perhaps she had already given her heart to Jesus Christ. Then, unfortunately, by the time her family arrived, she was no longer maintaining any consciousness and she died. But she affirmed that she knew Jesus as her personal Savior before she left us. So we know where she is. Hurricane Matthew. In 2016, communities near Hope Alive's remote clinic in the West, Trecon's second clinic, suffered severely from Hurricane Matthew. Following the disaster, Frank and I went there and asked the people, what is your most pressing need? We expected to hear them say water, food, medicine, but overwhelmingly their responses were, we need shelter. The punishing, cruel sun was beating down on them, and they needed roofs to escape it. This touched our son-in-law's heart. We rented a flatbed, large truck and trekked through muddy riverbeds to bring thousands of dollars worth of lumber, corrugated sheet metal, and nails. Our son-in-law, born and raised in Florida, knowing all about hurricanes, he had compassionately raised these relief funds after the hurricane. Frank and I, along with our dedicated Haitian staff, distributed those items to these communities so they could rebuild 180 of their homes' roofs and the roofs of their local school, which Hope Alive later acquired, and the church. The population was thrilled not only to escape the fierce sun, but because their new tin roofs were much sturdier than their previous thatched ones. Clean water. When Haitians are blessed to have a well in their village, we work to gain their trust, to convince them to actually drink the fresh water. It's hard to comprehend how an intelligent mind can be blinded by superstition. We have seen Haitian people who have they seem to prefer drinking contaminated water that they're accustomed to drinking rather than from a well of clean water. We believe this is a spiritual issue. Thank God, authentic Christian influence has made significant strides in changing that mindset. Many villages don't have wells or a clean water source. It is no exaggeration that they must walk for hours to find safe drinking water. They wrap a rag on their head to buffer, and a heavy jug of water sits on top of their head and then they spend hours walking. And that water is drinkable, but it's rarely clean. Frank had a deep burden to fix this problem. He named the Clean Water Ministry Project Hyssop. Where Frank worked for nearly 30 years, he often won awards as top salesman in the United States. He also trained many top-ranking salesmen who also won awards of being the top-ranking salesman in the United States. So Frank's a very hardworking man. He seldom takes a day off of work, and if he's sick, he'll work a half a day. He's very intelligent, the most humble man I've ever known. One year, Frank's boss recognized his merits by offering to send Frank and me for an all-expense-paid trip anywhere in the world. So instead of a luxury cruise or a castle in Europe someplace, Frank and I spent a week in Mississippi, where we learned how to install clean water systems in third world countries. Over the years, many successful Hope Alive water projects in Haiti, wells, water systems, have been financed by generous supporters. And water is an ongoing need, and God has blessed the project.